Did it all work?
It, I think so. I think we got
Wow,
this down.
we're getting good at this.
Yeah.
What, like 5 weeks in, finally having it figured out?
It only takes a little time. My lighting is really horrendous right now. It's kind of killing me, I'll be honest.
No, it's cool. It looks like you're gonna tell like a cool ghost story or something.
It's so red and bright.
And then there was a hook
It's
on
not
the
much better.
garage door.
Okay, we're kind of good. Yes, rats unite. Hello, all rats online. Um, we've got Sunny Day Real Estate to talk about today, and
Heck
I'm
yeah.
super
Yeah.
curious. It's good to have you back, Trevor. We missed you last week.
Thanks. Yeah, I took a week off. As you know, the maple syrup harvest season is just brutal up here. So I've got to pop in and out to do my national duty.
That's
We moved through much
so
quicker
so
with with
Canadian of you.
with a third of us missing last time.
A third of the time quicker, actually, to
But
be to be
but
exact
but a
about it.
third of but a third less enjoyment.
This is
So
Oh,
very true.
you're so
Very,
sweet.
very true.
That's good
every
though. It
time we
means
would finish a song, we would both kind of go, Trevor, and then like we'd have to kind
It's
of
like,
just
I wonder what Trevor would think about Joan
that's
Jett
not
in this
true. I
song.
you guys are doing my thing now. You're telling sweet little lies. I can tell.
No lies. No lies are told.
All right, I'll choose to believe it because it makes me feel nice.
Good, good.
before even talking about Sunny D of real estate, I think there's something else we need to be celebrating and acknowledging today. A really important day.
Gerard, when's
It's Trevor
birthday?
had a birthday 2 days ago.
Oh,
Oh, happy
Happy belated
birthday.
birthday, Trevor. Thought that you would
thanks.
sneak that in without us knowing. I didn't have a chance to embarrass you with an Instagram story. I realized too
Oh,
late.
Yeah,
that's okay.
I did not know. It
I
is
know.
very close to your doppelganger Gerard. I feel like it's meant to be.
I hear yeah, I appreciate that. I was trying to hide from it this year because
Yeah, yeah, fair.
being on the second half of your 30s kind of hit like a freight train, but I'm okay now. I'm
Just
feeling
wait
better
till
about
you
it
hit
now.
your 40s.
I know.
Actually, it gets
Do you
better
know
when you
what?
hit
Do you
40s.
know what word? Do you know what word I learned? Because you just used the word doppelganger. Do you know? I learned this like it has to be like Gen Z or like even like a newer of a phrase. Have you guys? I'm so tickled. Have you guys ever heard the phrase choppelganger?
Yes, I saw that word and I was like, God, I wish that existed 4 years ago. That would have
I
been
have
such a good bio for me.
It's
That's
the funniest
incredible.
thing I've ever heard.
A doppelganger
I
I'm
or
I
gonna
would
start
be
I'm gonna start
offended.
using that I'm Amy Lee's doppelganger.
doppelganger or
I'm kind of obsessed with that.
or sloppelganger.
I
I've
like
seen
that.
that one
Yeah.
too.
Although slop now like is hard coded to mean AI to me, and that
Yeah,
automatically gives me like a vibes.
yeah,
So
yeah,
I like
100%.
Once in a while, like when I say once in a while, I mean like very very rarely, maybe a few times a year. I get this comment for so many years. Past I've gotten like Emma Stone, and I'm gonna start
Oh
to have
yeah.
to adopt the Troppelganger
I'm
as
trying
well.
I'm trying to see if
Yes.
I see it. I think you know what,
It's
I'm too like I'm I base too much of my assumption of what people looks like on their hair color.
Yeah.
And so
She's also
like it's hard for me.
103 pounds now, so there the resemblance wanes every day into the ether. But it was I that made my whole week, and I'm like, I feel like I have to use every opportunity. Like I wouldn't even be
As you
offended
should.
to be someone's doppelganger. How
Yeah.
I know. I was like, when it's people like this, I'm like, hell yeah, yeah,
Hell yeah.
hell yeah. Like I will absolutely be Amy Lee's doppelganger. Like she's I think she's absolutely gorgeous. So I'm like, even
Conan.
if I get
anyway,
like a tenth of that, I'm like, fuck yeah.
Yeah.
but
Also, I love
anyway,
your Phantom sweater, Lisa. That's cool.
Isn't it? I
Hot
got
off the
it this week.
press.
Yes, yes. It is so comfortable too. I'm very happy with this specific purchase. And the mystery gift was the Ray Jetstar mask for me. But apparently people are getting like
Whoa.
the Cobra Kid one too. So
That's so
um
cool.
yes. I think that they had extras and are looking to get rid of inventory. And I was like, sure. It was
Yeah.
better quality than I thought it was going to be, to be honest. I expected it to be just like the little plastic ones that you get at like, I don't know, like party stores, but
Yeah.
it was actually like nicer than I
Oh,
expected. So,
cool. That's good. Maybe they're turning a new leaf.
no. I
No.
think it's just because it was older. I think that the leaf that they've turned is making their stuff shittier. I actually did. I will say I went. Oh, we're getting off topic, but I did a little rant at Warner email this week because I I ordered a bunch of stuff that ended up being on the buy one get one free like 2 days later, and so I emailed and I just sent like a nice little email. I was just like, hey, like I'm wondering if it's possible since it was just 2 days ago, like can I get you know can I get a credit or can like I cancel my order so I can reorder the stuff, and then they wait a week and then they message me back and they're like, no, we don't do that. And so I just like I wrote a little email and I was just like, I know that this isn't the person who's sending this email's fault and I'm not mad at you, but it is really frustrating that Warner, like I spend a lot of money at Warner and for MCR, and the fact that you can't even like do me a solid and give me like $15 when I'm spending hundreds of dollars
Yeah.
just in the past couple of months. Like that feels really bad. But again, I'm not mad at you, whoever this frontline customer service person. But if you can tell me who is like the person I should be complaining to, because this will make me think twice. It won't make me think twice, but maybe it'll make me think twice about buying merch from you again. And by the way, the quality of your stuff is getting really bad.
And they just
Well,
give
they're
you
And that was
ugly.
my email. I was like, it was the most it was the most I'm angry, but not at you.
and they
I
just
promise I'm only like half a Karen right now.
and they
Did
just
they
give
answer?
you
Did they
Frank.
reply?
No, of course not. I got an email like 2 days later that was like, would you like to give a survey on your service? And I was like, no, because I don't want it to be like look bad on the person who helped me because it's not their fault. Like that's
Yeah.
just the company policy. It was just disappointing to like have them go scorched earth over $15. So,
Yeah.
anyways,
It would be
I'm
That's how
still
funny though
mad
if you
about it though.
multi-billionaires. That's how you get to be mega billionaires, quabbling over $10,
Look,
ugh.
yeah,
50,000 times a day.
yeah, I
It would have been
guess.
funny
But
if when
But
you're like, who should I
also, sorry, go ahead. That was just a loud also,
I was gonna say it would have been funny if you said who should I complain to, and they just give you like Frankie Euro's personal cell number.
right? Like complain to this guy.
Yeah.
But anyways, my new water bottle should be here soon, so that's good.
Hell
yeah,
yeah.
That I paid $15 too much for. Okay.
the
But we
actual
do
important
have
day.
sunny day real estate now that I've went on my little rant.
Well, like I
Okay.
faked us
Yeah.
out briefly. We have to acknowledge that it's Gerard's birthday.
It is Gerard Way's birthday.
Happy
49 years.
birthday.
49. Crazy.
Happy
I
birthday,
did
Dad.
Dad.
I did I thought about making a post and then this is going to sound absolutely ridiculous, but if I'm among anyone who are going to understand, it's going to be this group. But I wanted to make a post, like a happy birthday post, but every time I tried to think about it, I got so overwhelmed by like how much he means to me that I couldn't put into words, and anything felt like too little for like how much like I he means to
Yeah.
me. And so I had to like I had to quit. I had to quit trying, and I was just like I'm just going to feel it. So,
That's fair.
anyways,
Yeah.
it's yeah.
I listen. I didn't post. I kept going back and forth about if I wanted to do an embarrassing like post on my Instagram story today, but I just decided that it wasn't the time because I have too many folks that are in that watch my stories that I would be too embarrassed to have them see me like create like an altar like that I would ideally want. And everyone always tells me to use close friends. I'm not interested, right?
Yeah.
Like, I'm not interested in combing through and deleting people from certain posts, and it's all or nothing.
Yeah.
And so, but it was in here today all day. Actually, Jessica, Jess, she texted me today. She goes, "Oh my God, I can't believe I almost forgot to tell you congratulations." And I was like, "What?" She goes, "It's Jordan's birthday today." And I was like, "Oh God, thank
Like
you so
we are
much."
responsible
We're
for
really happy.
it's
Like
yes.
congratulated me,
Yeah.
and it made me laugh so hard. So I was like, "What did I? I didn't do any. I haven't done anything." She goes, "It's Jarvis' birthday. I almost forgot to tell you congratulations." Thank you.
It's
Jess
a
is the best.
In Canada, it's actually a national holiday. I just didn't show up for work today.
Yeah.
See, now I know you're lying.
My phone's been ringing off the hook all day. I have no idea why, though. I
Like,
guess
what are
people have
you?
been
Where are
like,
you?
yeah, what are you doing for Gerard Way's birthday?
Yeah.
I have it the calendar that I make I every year I make like a month calendar with a bunch of like that year's like the top hits for the My Chem like shows, and I make one for me and Lisa, and I always put it like their birthdays as like holidays, like where you put like Christmas and Independence Day. I put Gerard Way's birthday and Mikey Way's birthday,
Yep.
and so there's no way anyone could forget.
We cannot forget.
But
Wow.
all of a sudden, I've been looking. I check my days off. I go, it's coming up.
Yeah.
National holiday.
It's
National holiday.
dedication.
It isn't. It is to me. I wish I got work off today.
I know. Okay.
Okay,
7 day
Sunday
real
real
estate.
estate.
We're there.
I'm
Let's
so
do this.
curious. I'm so curious where we're gonna fall on this. So, did you have a blurb to talk about them?
Yeah. So
Okay.
yes, 7 day real estate was formed in 1992 in Seattle, Washington. I knew, I already had a feeling that this was really going to be a band for me, just by what I've heard from them in the past and like the descriptors of what I've seen kind of written about them. So every time before I, fully listen to and break into a new band like this, I'll kind of get a little sense to see what like the Google summaries and a couple of Reddit posts say about these bands. And they're known for, as we talked a little bit last time, for really establishing what we know is like the Midwest emo genre, despite not being at all from the Midwest. They're from the Pacific Northwest. But they are their styles are they bridge post-hardcore with melodic emo. They've had multiple periods of breakup and inactivity, but generally have like been a band, whether or not consecutively, for the past 30 years. I think that their first album came out in '94. Or at least that's really when like they really kind of hit the scene at the very least. They were formed in '92. Their first band came out. At least the first album that we're really kind of even looking at today, from '94, not counting the one song that I know was on like their first demo, which we'll kind of get to that. Does anybody want to start off with any initial thoughts
Just
before
to
going
just to
into the breakdowns?
just to add on to your blurb there, Shannon. What some things I found cool was a lot of the members after the first breakup ended up joining Foo Fighters, and so there's like a ton of overlap between Foo Fighters and Sunny Day Real Estate, which I thought was really interesting because they're
That is
contemporary
interesting.
with Nirvana.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that's crazy.
Yeah, I think it's the I heard it a lot in the guitars. We'll get into it when we're talking about the songs, but I think it was the guitarist that went over to Foo Fighters and was like, "Oh my God, yeah, like this is just Foo Fighters guitar, like all over the place."
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I can talk about them. Let me pull. Oh my God, it's so bright. Sorry, I have to turn my brightness down. I just blinded myself with my own laptop. Okay, so I uh and we'll kind of I don't have, interestingly enough, I don't have a lot to say about the individual songs, which we'll see when we kind of get in. But I actually really did like them. This is very much up my alley. I can see a lot of like influence on bands that I do like. A lot of like Saves the Day. I hear like a lot of Saves the Day in them.
Mm,
I can hear some like Thursday in it. I can hear like even some Dashboard stuff like that. And I think that, those, especially like Saves the Day and Thursday were kind of my, nope, not Thursday. Saves the Day and Dashboard were kind of some of my intro into emo.
nice.
And so I'm kind of like naturally disposed to enjoy that kind of music. It's really interesting that you said that they're from the Pacific Northwest, because I listened to this whole thing thinking that they were British.
I'm gonna get there. I'm gonna get there because
Because
there.
they
I
have like
made that
the
note.
singer
I
has a
made that
British
note.
accent. And
I
so
made that note. We're gonna talk about that.
So I wrote, I didn't know they were British. I always thought they were from New Jersey, because I just assume if you're emo, you're from New Jersey. And so, yeah, like I said, overall, I really enjoyed them. I will say, what's interesting to them, or to me about them, and just again, kind of the way I engage in music, in general, which is probably why I'm not going to have a lot to say in the actual songs, is I loved the sound, but the lyrics themselves were almost inaccessible to me. And to the point where they kind of remind me a little bit of like Anthony Green and like Seyson and just Anthony Green in general, where it's almost more like poetry set to music. Which I am not a poetry person. Like I love the idea of poetry, but I'm very plain spoken and I'm very literal. And so it takes me a while to hear poetry and have any connection to it or understand what it means. And so with the time that I got with these songs, I didn't have a chance to make any like strong connections to the lyrics. I also found that the singer did not enunciate well and also had in my ear an audible accent. So if I didn't have the lyrics open, I wouldn't have been able to understand anything that was sung. So again, a lot like Anthony Green, where I'm like, I like the sound of this. I'm fully on board with this. But if you asked me what anything that went on in that song was or why I liked it, I'm gonna be like, uh? It sounded good. So, but I will. Overall, I'm actually really excited to see them. I think they're one of my favorite bands I heard so far.
Thanks.
And I want to listen to them more and actually get familiar with those lyrics and find out how they like I can connect with them specifically. Anyways, that
Sweet.
was a long discussion. I talked a lot now because I'm going to say very little about the songs. All right, Shannon, did you want to?
I also really, I mean, I wasn't surprised to see that I was gonna really like them when I sat down to listen fully, and I really did. Even the songs that I feel like I have less to say about, I generally still really liked. Um, uh, I just love kind of like 90s indie, 90s rock, and this sort of like blend from like, as I sort of said in the intro, this blend from like this like hardcore sound with these really interesting like melodic lines in the verses, and there's really cool, one thing that I was missing last week was I think really was featured a lot in this band, which was this sort of sense of the song building to a point and hitting like a climax moment, which I really struggle with Joan Jett because we talked a little bit about kind of like the themes and like the themes behind like classic rock and the structure of a song, and how I was like, I kept waiting for something big to happen, and I got a lot of that here. So I really like the vocals. I really like a lot of things I was hearing in the guitars. And so I'm also really excited to kind of break down these things as we went, because there was a lot here that I really did enjoy. It was an easy listen for me.
Trevor?
Awesome. Overall, yeah, I really like them. I think what's really cool, I was thinking about this a lot. I was like, gosh, every band we've listened to feels like these like crossroads of genre and where sounds were like changing and becoming new. And then every band I'm hearing like the 10 years later when the big labels like just milked that sound for everything they could get kind of thing. Um, and I was like, oh, it must be so cool because they were like the second biggest tour in the world. So they must get the whoever they want as an opener. And so it really feels like we're getting almost like a master class in like, hey, these are all the bands that we pieced together to make our sound that you might not know from interviews or we've never really talked about. So every like there's songs where I'm like, oh my God, that's drowning lessons. Like, like there's all these like touch points that I think is really, really cool. So I enjoy this band too, because yeah, I like the listening, but also the it's just eye-opening to be like, oh my God, I've never really listened to this band that much, and there's so much that other bands have taken from them, like for sure. Every song I was like is this band influenced by Sunny Day Real Estate? And then usually it's like, we don't know. But someone on Reddit thinks so, and I'm like, okay, well,
Yeah.
I'm not
It's
building
actually
here, so
funny
much
that
better.
you mentioned something like, not knowing if there's like, has there ever been like a connection between this band, like My Chem and Sunny Day Real Estate? And actually, spoilers, because we'll talk about it at the end when when we usually kind of talk about who we think kind of chose this band. I'm not going to spoil kind of what I thought, but as I was listening to this, I was so positive in my head that I knew exactly who wanted this band that I Googled their name and Sunny Day Real Estate and found an interview with them talking about this band. So we'll
Awesome.
kind of at the end I'll kind of tell you what I found and who in fact I believe really was championing this band to be one of their openers.
Interesting,
So
because I
Cool.
actually have a strong
Oh,
opinion on this, and I'm really curious to see if I'm wrong.
oh,
you're
that's
probably not
awesome.
wrong. Probably you have good instincts. Yeah.
We'll see. We'll see.
But yeah, I'm curious also. We'll kind of that'll be our little cliffhanger. Hang on to the very end to see if we're correct. So let's pop right in then. Let's go right into the first song, "Killed by an Angel."
Yeah.
I will start. I'm happy to start. So this song came out in 2000, and I really like this one. Um, uh, not every song, not every chorus or lyric in every song really resonated with me, but I really, really had, I really connected with a lot of the lyrics in this one. And, sometimes when I'm listening to music, like I have a really set idea of what we're actually singing about, especially if, as you said, we kind of are crossing into this like kind of poetic stanzas where we're not kind of getting really literal lyrics. Sometimes I'm so confident that I know what a song is saying, and it's like I find an interview like a week later and it's like totally not even remotely close, but I'm whatever. So, but for me, this really, without, taking too many leaps, it really feels a lot like we're singing about substance abuse, substance use, drugs, the idea of being, killed by an angel, right? Something that you love so much hurting you so bad. And there are in that some more like overt lyrics like serum vials to help you when you're sad and it comes in a bottle, right? Those kind of being elements of pre-choruses and choruses. So we're hearing those pretty frequently. I actually took a specific note about one of, I think, the most striking visuals in all of these songs happening here. And the lyric is, when you see the sores, you can't believe them.
Mm,
I thought that was just like I had to kind of rewind it and listen again because it just was such a great, like haunting visual moment of how something can kind of creep up on you so gradually until you're in a place of danger. And it's at that point, it's hard to kind of turn back. And this, like I said, this can be about substance use, but it can be about anything, that you kind of find yourself boiling slowly like a frog in a pot, right?
mm,
But overall, it really had this cool, like, dirty, grungy, early 2000s, like, sound. It was, like, really raw in its production, with a really, like, I wrote that I thought that I really dig, like, the slower, groovy tempo and how it built really heavy into a stronger chorus. But I found myself listening to this one over and over and over again. I really like this one is one of my favorites. That I at this point refuse to rate them because it's just the principle of the thing. But this was definitely a standout for me in all of the songs that we listened to. I really really liked it.
I'm gonna go next because this was
Because
my
it was your
least
least
favorite
favorite
song.
song.
whoa.
It was your least favorite. You said.
It was my least favorite.
Oh.
I so I did like the
I know.
sound of this one.
It's
I
like
liked
we're trying on purpose. It's like intentional.
it
It's
really it always makes me laugh so hard. So I loved the music. Like the opening riff started and I was like, "Ooh, hell yeah." Like immediately was into the sound. And then the first verse kicked in and I was scared about how the rest of the week was going to go cuz I hated the way his voice sounded in these
Oh
verses.
no.
It was took me back to Skunk Anansie, where it's
Yeah.
again kind of that like squeaky high pitch sort of like it just there's something about that pitch that hurts me. And then when
Yeah.
we got to the chorus, I was like, oh thank God. It like got a little lower pitched. It kind of took off whatever was happening in the verses. And then again we get to the next verse and it pops up again and I'm like, oh. So I was really scared listening to this song. I couldn't listen to it again, but I did like the music, and when I hoped really hard that the rest of the song was going to be, again, kind of more similar to the choruses as opposed to the verses, which thankfully it was. This was one of the only songs that I had like an issue with the voice. Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
so yeah, I gave it a 6 out of 10 because I did think that the music was I wanted to really love it. But I just the verses were intolerable for me.
Yeah, that's fair. It's kind of I noticed that too in this one. It's kind of like that mixed voice, and because
Mhm.
I was reading that Led Zeppelin was a really big influence on them. So it almost sounds like he's, in my opinion, was trying to do like a softer, like mellowed out Led Zeppelin kind of thing with that like high mid range rock scream, and it was kind of like it was a weird vibe as well. I felt, but I like the song. I gave it a 7 out of 10. I said it like a wispy, moodier Led Zeppelin. And yeah, like Midwest emo, one of the hallmarks is like the twinkly guitar riffs, I think nowadays. And so I thought what was really cool about this song was that intro you were talking about, Lisa. It was kind of like you could see the beginnings of that and this like midpoint between like soft prog rock of the 70s, where like, arpeggiated guitar was like all the rage. And then what we have now, which is just like, more like math rock, and there's all these like, hammer-ons and slides and stuff. So I was like, oh, cool. Like right at the crossroads between like that 70s kind of rock sound and what we hear on the radio today. So I thought that was cool. Yeah, you can hear like a lot of bands like what was it, third wave emo. I might get this wrong, and people are so cagey about Midwest emo if you get it wrong, but like modern baseball or whatever, or like the front bottoms, I could hear a lot of crossover. Like you're listening to their dad's band or whatever. 7 out of 10 for me.
Nice.
I liked it. Yeah.
Nice. Did you want to start with guitar and video games?
I would love
Okay.
to. Two of my favorite things. Um, I was like, okay, I was listening to this song. I was like, okay, what are we listening to? I was like, The Smiths, The Beatles, British Invasion. And like, so when you were saying you thought he had a British accent, I was like, oh, yeah, I totally get it. But after doing some research, I found out that the main influences were, or some of them were Led Zeppelin, Rush, which I was like, hell yeah. Um, and then 1970s like singer songwriter stuff. So I was like, it wasn't named, but I was like, are we talking like Billy Joel and like Simon and Garfunkel stuff? Because I could hear a lot of that. Maybe his voice changes so much from song to song. It was like he's doing different impressions of different singers, which I thought was really cool.
Mm-hmm.
It reminded me also a lot of Neutral Milk Hotel. So I started looking that up, and they were
Oh.
contemporaries. Yeah, and they definitely influenced each other like later on, maybe not in the early 90s, but they talk about each other in interviews. Um, and so yeah, Neutral Milk Hotel is famous for being a piece of shit and then also using a lot of lo-fi in their music production in that order.
Okay. I've never heard of them, to be honest, but my
Okay.
music
I really like an
knowledge is
airplane
really
over the.
narrow.
I really like an airplane over the sea. I got
Yeah,
that one on the. I got that one in the pile in the back.
as a teenager, that whole album was awesome. But it was cool because I was like, oh,
Yeah,
I
as a
kind of
teenager, I like that shit too.
no, I didn't mean it like that. I love that album, and so it
I
was
remember when I had
devastating.
my first beer.
It's Aries season. Everything I say, and I don't want to get too far into astrology, but in April 16th, like every planet's in Aries, but that's a whole other. We're not here to talk about. That's our other live stream that we do that no one knows about. Um, no, but okay,
That's when the
so
gloves come out, literally.
yeah, it's our gloving astrology live stream. You'll on our secret account, you'll never find it. No. But so this song, I was like, oh my God, there's so many people I can hear taking inspiration from this band. I was like, Bright Eyes from the 2000s felt like taking so much from that, like kind of whiny singer-songwritery
Mm-hmm.
stuff. But then drawing that line back into like the 70s, like punk folk rock revival. I was like, oh, this is like making connections for me. Or I was thinking like Jack's Mannequin and something corporate, like Andy McMahon, like all of
Yep.
those kind of drony, long held notes and stuff like that. And even like some of the softer stuff, I was like, I wonder if even into the 2010s, we had like people like Sufjan Stevens, who might have been a Sunny Day Real Estate fan just from some of the vocal intonations and the way it was all written. I was like, and I said, it's a really interesting midpoint between singer songwriter and folk punk garage band happening here. And so I give it 8 out of 10. I was like really chuffed to bits with it. I loved it.
Um, this one was like less of one of my. This is a lesser favorite of mine. This one was from '98. It really did have like a '90s indie feel to it, which, like I said, I mentioned last week is one of my favorite kind of like eras of music. So I knew that I was gonna like it anyway. But um, I tend to really kind of grasp when I'm listening to music on like melody and vocals and something about like the melody in this song, and there wasn't really this sort of, not that there has to be, but there wasn't this focus. Sometimes like if a melody's not that great, like rhyme schemes can kind of rescue a song a little bit, and this really didn't have a lot of that here, and so I didn't really connect in a lot of ways with what I was hearing vocally. And I really gave it a several listens because I do really like when a song only says its song title once in the very end and
Mm.
like not part of the chorus. Like they sneak it in. Just like so, like they happen to mention like guitar in video games near the end, and it's not like it's just as like as a throwaway line. And I always kind of like when a
Mhm.
band does that. And but yeah, I really, even with a couple, like wanting to really like this one, I really didn't connect that much with it. This was kind of one that I really kind of ended up passing over every time I would try to kind of come back and listen to some songs again. So I was just neither here nor there about this one.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is, I didn't have a whole lot to say about this one. I think it was a lot better than the last one. It's interesting that you associate it with mid 90s sound because I associate it with early 2000s sound. So to me, I
Oh,
was like, this is the kind of emo that I associate as emo. Again, kind of going back more into that like Saves the Day, Dashboard Confessional, like, and I know there's
yeah,
not like a whole lot similarities between those two bands, but like I could see both of them kind of dovetailing into this one.
totally.
That was really kind of exploded in that like 2000, 2001-ish, like 99, 2000, 2001. So I think of it more of like turn of the millennium as opposed to
Yeah,
like very, because 90s to me is more like Soundgarden and, like those sorts of like that to me is like 90s kind of music and everything else kind of edges towards like 2000s. But that's just, I think, the way I categorize things.
I think you're
Um,
spot on though. The song was 1998, so I think you're right in
oh, okay. It's
the
kind of like right in
goldie zone.
between what Shannon and I thought.
Yeah, yeah,
It's interesting that you said the Beatles because I wrote the voice reminds me of the Beatles. Like to me, it sounded like John and Paul had like a child, and
yeah,
this would be their
yeah,
voice. Like it wasn't specifically John's voice, and it wasn't specifically Paul's voice, but it had kind of like tones of both. But
yeah.
again, I think it had a like, super strong British accent that I have no idea where it came from since they're apparently from the Pacific Northwest. But yeah, I gave it a 7 out of 10. I thought this one was good, but it wasn't my favorite.
Fair enough.
A song about an angel.
I can go
Um,
first with this
yeah,
one.
go for it.
I thought there was a huge like Nirvana influence on that one, and like because I think Nirvana was only a few years before them, like
Mhm.
91 ish. So and they were both in the Seattle scene, so it would make sense. And also like this song, I said you can see so much of the raw guitar work that makes the Foo Fighters happen as a band, especially on this album, like the early 90s one. Um, I had some notes with the lyrics too. I found the lyrics hard to relate to. Just maybe it's the way it's sung, where the words are like really stretched out over many, many beats. It's hard for me to like draw the lyrical narrative that's happening because I don't really pay attention to each long word and then piece it together at the end.
Mhm.
But and I felt like a lot of when I looked at the lyrics, it was like a lot of 90s kind of introspective, vague stuff. And it was more about the feelings being expressed, anyways, than what was being said,
Mhm.
in my opinion. So I was like, I was okay with that. I was like, just cool to like vibe to the song and not really worry too much about what was being said. But I
Mhm.
like this one a lot. 8 out of 10.
So for me, so yeah, this was from '94. So a little bit earlier. And the first thing that I said was it's always a bold choice early in your career to write a 6 minute long song. Um, and not only that, I was looking into it a little bit more. And this was one of the, so they formed it, I think, in '92, I think, so I said earlier. But this was one of the first songs they actually wrote together. So one of the first
Oh,
things they did was get together and jam and write a 6 minute long song. Um, Similar to another band that we know and love, I think.
I
Um,
do love a good 6 minute long song.
yeah. I really it has this. I really like that it had this sort of like um, beautiful, kind of dreamy, dreamlike kind of sound to it. And this is the part. This is the part that I happened to mention here. I was like, this. I had to keep reminding myself at this point that they are American because, especially in this song, I said the vocals are consistently delivered with this like European lilt, And it's something in the way that he pronounces his vowels. And obviously it's a
Mhm.
creative choice, right?
Yeah.
But I just have to keep reminding myself that this is not, in fact, like a Scottish band or something like that. They are
Yeah,
from
yeah,
Washington. Because it came,
It's so
especially in like the
weird.
slower songs, it really kind of is more pronounced.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, clearly a creative choice, but um,
I am
I had
so
to keep
bored that he does not have a British accent. Like,
so.
It is
But I really
confusing
like the.
because
I don't have like kind of. I didn't really do a lot more of looking into the specific song because I just this is also one of the ones that maybe didn't stick out as much to me. I did like it, I like the sound of it, but I also couldn't really um excuse me, dive into like the lyrics. Same. I kind of the same as guitar and video games for me as far as the lyricism goes. But yeah, but it was a fair song. I say everything's fine and fair as though I didn't open by saying I really like this band because I really
yeah.
really
I'm
did.
having the
I
same
really really did. I
experience.
promise.
I'm
Other
having the
songs I
exact
really
same
like.
experience.
Other songs I just happened to really like a whole lot more and had a whole lot more to say. So
I feel like it's like the Bullets, where I'm like, Bullets is one of my top two My Chem albums. But they're some of their my least favorite songs are on that album. But the
I
songs that I love.
Right. Yeah.
yeah, you
Yeah.
get it. You get
Yeah.
it.
So I'll go next because I don't really have a whole lot to say. I thought this one again was good. I don't have a whole lot to say about it. It would have been better, except for he did go up into some of those upper tones again, which I found very grating and not in a good way. So that knocked it down to a 7 out of 10. It would have been higher, I think, if it weren't those few parts where he just popped that tone up, and I went, oh, nails on a chalkboard. And that's all I had to say about that one. I didn't have a whole lot to say. Like I said,
Fair
I don't
enough.
have a whole lot to say about most of the songs. Trevor,
It's vibes. We're vibes.
just
Um,
all vibes this week.
I think the next one is Red Elephant.
Yeah.
And like going back to like the confusion about him not being British, like some of the lyrics in there, I totally get the confusion. He's like, I love to eat bangers and mash in the morning, fish and chips. And he's
Yep,
like, they're actually called crisps. Like all of those lyrics are really, you're like, of course they're British. Like, yeah, right.
it definitely was a confirmation for me, but
But
apparently
then no,
incorrect. It was
they're
an
from the
incorrect.
Pacific Northwest. Sorry.
So
Okay.
wild.
For Red Elephant, I said it's so wild how much singer-songwriter stuff sounds just like this, but a decade later, if you unplugged it. This was kind of my read on it. So like I was hearing like Regina Spektor, Fiona Apple, like those whole like 2000s really moody singer-songwriters, but like they just
Mhm,
dialed that 90s loud, quiet vibe, right? Like
mhm,
you think classic Nirvana, it's like super quiet, low key verse, and then he's just like yelling at the chorus.
Mhm.
It's like
mhm,
they took that and just like made it all quiet. And so I was like, oh, I wonder if they were inspired by them, or this song reminded me a lot of How to Save a Life by the Fray.
mm.
I was like, when you're talking
I
about
see that.
Lisa, like, oh, I just keep singing other songs on top of it. I was doing the same thing
Yep.
with that one. And so I thought it was really cool that these kind of like sonic motifs, if you will,
Hmm.
kind of preceded these huge hits in the industry, but like a decade later. And
Yeah.
so to me, this is just one of those bands where you're like, oh, I think they've probably had a huge influence on the industry, but maybe didn't see the mainstream success because they were an indie band. Right now, we're talking about Red Elephant from LP2, released in 1995. I'd recommend it. Yeah, listen to How to Save a Life by the Fray, and then this one, and
Hmm.
and see if you hear it too.
Yeah.
I gave it a 6 out of 10. No, wait, I forgot to rate this one. Uh, I guess we'll never know. No, I liked it. I think a 7.5 would be fair.
I also had notes on reference here as well. So for me, as I was listening, I was the vocals on this track specifically were felt very Colin Malloy from the Decemberists. Um,
Oh,
and I started to, because then, so this song is from 95, right? And so I didn't know when the Decemberists exactly were formed. So they formed in 2000, right? So as opposed to, that kind of gave me a little bit, a better idea of like the directionality of influence here. Um, But despite not even being in the same genre, I can imagine that the folksy inspiration and the approach to kind of like a whimsical vocal at times from the Decemberists, they all kind of come from the same place.
Hmm.
Um, so that was just an interesting note because I'm not always the first person to go toward and connect to references, but that one stuck out to me pretty strongly here.
Cool.
So I will say all of my notes are less about the song and more about like the production of the song because the song I was just sort of neither here nor there about. Um, but I was looking I was looking up information about LP2, right, to their second album. So they were already in the process of breaking up when they were like completing and working on and writing this album. And so they had later admitted that they just didn't try very hard on this one.
Oh,
And
wow.
it's why they even specifically acknowledge that the lyrics are mostly nonsense because they really weren't going through much of an editing process.
Oh,
So
wow.
if we find ourselves stuck on LP2 and trying to be like, what were they talking about here? The answer is probably nothing. They were just probably trying to hit a deadline. Um,
Mm.
which is I also was looking at because I specifically was very struck by LP2 just being an album that's just pink. There was no like that was just like they just did like the white album approach. And so I was curious about that and looking up a little bit more about the production of LP2 when it got time because they'd already been broken up, right? And they were kind of just like you know, they weren't really connected to the band or to the album. And so when they were kind of asked, what do you guys want to do for cover art, cover design? And their
Mm.
responses, those are very tongue in cheek. We don't really care, make it pink. And so they just made it pink. And that's how LP2 kind of came to be. But despite their lackadaisical approach to the song, Spin ranked Red Elephant at number 44 on their best alternative rock songs of 1995 list.
Wow.
So they did something right. But I mostly wanted to kind of talk about the background of the song. I thought that was a good, fun, interesting
Yeah.
talking point. So
That's so cool.
that's kind of what LP2, a little breath of what LP2 was like when they were producing it.
Nice.
So don't work too hard trying to figure out the lyrics because you're working harder than them probably.
Which,
Yeah.
if funny, must work for me because this is the first song that I actually like picked out a lyric that I was like, "Ooh, I love this lyric." I think the lyric "Cold
That's
Diamond
so
Heart Still
great.
Beating" is such a great line. Like,
That's good.
it's very like I mean, it cold because it's cold, like and then diamond being like the hardest material in the world. Like, I don't know, I
Mm.
just really liked this idea of like this cold and like hard heart, but it's still beating. And so I liked that. I thought that was a great line. I was like, ooh, like burn. Um, and so I really liked this song in general. I don't have a whole lot of notes on it, but I give it a 9 out of 10. I really enjoyed listening to it. So
Wow.
that was all I had. Um,
I
I will
haven't
start, I
started.
guess, with,
I
oh,
haven't
sorry.
started with the song, so I want to start with one,
Okay.
because I actually am starting to get into songs that I have more to say.
Okay.
um, okay. The beginning acoustic guitar of this song kept bugging me because it sounded like something else.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. And I couldn't place it. And so I kept
Okay.
listening over and over and over again. And I'm still not totally happy with where I landed, but it felt like if Desert Song was written in a major key.
Hmm.
Mm.
Um, like that's how at least like the maybe not the chord specifically, but like the strumming patterns, like how the progression. I looked because Desert Song is in fact written in E minor, and this song is D major. So I'm curious if we transpose this into E minor, how much closer we would get to Desert Song. But anyway, it kind of struck me because I kept trying to. It bugged me that I couldn't quite figure it out, and I don't know if I'm totally there yet, but if I knew anything more about music production, I would do that myself and see what I would get. Um, so I really, really enjoyed specifically this what the lead guitar is doing in this song.
Yeah.
In fact, it was I think one of the highlights of the song in general, especially like specifically the work that it's doing in the verses. And I'm gonna from here on out talk a lot about how much I appreciate the dynamics of these songs. So especially vocally, we're starting off with like a lighter vocal tone with a lot more emphasis on breath, and then it does eventually kind of build to something much bigger as the song progresses. I really enjoy the melodies of the vocals and the verses. Like a lot of the elements of the song was really working for me. And I found myself kind of gravitating toward this one over and over again. So it's one of my favorites. I refuse to rate them, but it's on the top of the pyramid for me. So
It's like a laundry pile of songs. They're not rated. There's no. It's just whatever
I don't
ends up.
believe in that.
No.
I don't believe in rating and ranking things, you know.
I respect it. I respect it.
Lisa, did you hate this one?
This is
Because
my favorite song.
that's great.
I honestly assumed I was going to come into this and you were going to hate it.
No.
But no, this was my favorite one. I loved this song. Starting out with the acoustic guitar, I love acoustic guitar. Immediately, yes. And I was just like, yes. I thought the chorus, I loved the lyrics. So again, I couldn't understand any of them, but I had the lyrics open and I was reading them as I was listening. And the chorus, the lines were, though we were climbing on forever an infinite task, shoulders straining with the endless toil, we're nothing more than a feather moving in the wind. I want to
Mm.
change everything. And that is just so, I don't know, to me, like I'm going through kind of like a hard time at work. I'm just kind of like pushing on, and it's just this kind of like this sort of like feeling in general of just doing the same thing over and over again, and you want change, but you're kind of stuck in here and you're just kind of continually like working over and over and over again. And I have no idea what the song means, but like I read those and I was like,
Mm.
it's like both, work and just toil, but then also, we should be freer and we want to change everything, but you're not necessarily free to. And it's so I thought that those lyrics were really interesting and something that I could connect to. And in general, I think probably one of the reasons I did like the song was because the lyrics were a little more accessible to me and I was able to kind of put some feeling around the actual words as opposed to a lot of the songs are just again, it's more poetry, so I can't actually figure out what story they're trying to tell.
Yeah.
So I really loved this song. I loved the sound of it. Again, it's going sort of with the slower, it's kind of more of like the dashboards or the secondhand serenades kind of version of emo, which was the emo that I liked best in the 2000s. Now my tastes have changed a little bit more and I go more towards the post-hardcore and stuff. But for me, this was like a guaranteed, like, hell yeah. 2 thumbs up.
Oh, awesome. Hell yeah, brother. Do you want the
Hell yeah,
glasses,
brother.
Lisa? That's awesome. I love the lyrical interpretation too. I also like that lyric. Unfortunately, this was my least favorite song.
All three of us can never agree.
It's kind of
And
fun
that's
though,
how
because
the feta crumbles, baby.
yeah, there it is.
Always got to split the cheese.
We always got to split the cheese. But one day when we do have a song we all really like, it's going to be magical.
It will.
Um,
I don't believe it's going to happen, but if
It
it
will
does,
happen.
it'll be
It'll
magical.
happen.
I did say great lyrics. Love the guitar leads. This was like a nitpicky thing. I found the acoustic guitar was mixed weird and it had like a buzz to it and it made the whole mix sound hollow. So I just like I couldn't get into the song. But other than that, I like the elements of it. And I said some of the weird lo-fi stuff on the outro, like it's sounded a bit like a Korg organ or something like that. Or sort of reminded me of Neutral Milk Hotel and like that kind of weird instrumentation. Like Neutral Milk Hotel did a lot of bagpipes and shit like that. And so I was like, oh, that's cool. I like that. But yeah, I give it a 6 out of 10 for me. That's the way that, what did you say, Shannon? The feta
That's how the
crumbles?
way the feta crumbles, baby.
That's a good one. That we should lock that one down. That's a solid
We should make
catchphrase.
we should make shirts. I can start again with another one. So the next one on the list is one singular sensation. Anybody into a chorus line? Not just me. I was in a chorus line. Anyway, let's move on to the song. So this is from 2000. So just like a lot of the other songs we've been listening to, there's lots of dynamics at work, which I always really appreciate. The guitars in this one, I said, are doing a lot of the heavy lifting. And almost to contrast that, almost whether or not Lisa appreciates this, a lot of the vocals are sitting in more of like a head voice here as opposed to something. So because this song sort of has a heavier sound, it was just an interesting choice that we picked a vocal placement that's in more in like a head voice. It's in this lighter tone as opposed to like the chest or another more powerful part of the body. Obviously, he can sing from like from his chest and kind of and give more acceleration to his sound. Obviously, it was a choice to not do that, right? So I just wanted to recognize that as something as an interesting choice that they had made. And I picked out a line in the chorus that I really liked. Everything and everyone, and in the end, we all are one. And it's a chorus. It's a line so good they said it twice. So they said so. So I really like the structure of that as like the song's like a running thesis. And so yeah, this is a cool one. You know, as with both of them, I really did enjoy it, and I wanted to acknowledge just the different choices that they were making here. Not their songs all sound like they're from the same band clearly, but none of them really sound alike. Which is not every band can pull that off. So good for them. Lisa, what are your thoughts on one?
I didn't have a lot of thoughts. I think again the lyrics were a little stronger and more accessible to me in this one than some of the others. But the overall sound of the music wasn't as strong. And I did note the little bit higher pitched, but it didn't hurt me the way the other ones do. But I do like I liked the line, "It's strange how we're selling our time and we wait. We're lost in a clever game running from our lives." And then following that up with "We own this moment." Again, it's kind of like, I like it similar because I read it in a similar way to the last song. And just, again, that kind of idea of just like, we're selling our time and we wait, you know, and it's just, I think I'm just in a very much like an anti-capitalism mode right now. And that's what
Hell
this
yeah,
is.
brother.
Yeah,
And
lean
it's
into it,
just,
Lisa.
I'm just so tired, just so tired. But I kind of thought then the "we own this moment" was like a little bit of a powerful turn on that of like, okay, like, yeah, this is, we're selling our time, but we actually own it, and that's something that we can do. So I liked that. I liked the lyrics in this one. But the end gets repeated a little too long. And this was actually a problem that I had with, I think, the next couple of songs, is that I want them to be about 30 to 40 seconds shorter because it's just keeps going. But 8 out of 10. I liked this one. Trevor.
Awesome. Two of the big influences that they cited were U2 and I already mentioned Rush. And so this song, I felt like the vocal performance reminded me of a split somewhere between Bono and Geddy Lee. And a lot of the themes of it, and we have to remember, like, U2 in the 90s was infinitely cooler than U2 in the 2000s.
It was my mom's favorite band. I grew up with them.
Yeah, like I one of my mentors in my 20s was a huge U2 fan. He's like, no, you don't get it. Like, you gotta listen to the early stuff. And it really is really
It's
good.
fantastic. I
Yeah, it's
actually love Joshua Tree. So
okay, yeah. Like
yeah.
all the earlier albums are like really different before they kind of went I don't know, people can have different opinions about the later
They got a
phases, but
little, not
they
so great.
they
And then
they like to
then
smell
they
their own
forced their
farts, you
album
know.
on everyone, and that just ruined their whole reputation.
And we'll never forgive or
They
forget
will
that.
never. It'll be 50 years from now, and people will be like, "Two
YouTube, that band that forced
that
the
bit.
album
I can't
onto
get
my
rid of it on my Apple
oh
Music."
boy, yeah, exactly. Um, but I love this because it was like that perfect like late 90s optimism kind of vibes. Like it was
Mhm.
like soaring.
Mhm.
Um, and like I was in my head, I was like, God, imagine like being in 1999 or 2000, like before 9/11, like in that that 90s optimism, and this song comes out, everything and everyone in the end we're all one. I'll be like, man, that must have felt incredible to like listen to this song in the late 90s.
I miss
Um,
the 90s sometimes. I
me
say that
too.
as a white woman,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
you know,
valid.
but God, I miss the 90s
Yeah,
sometimes.
there was an optimism there that I think was nice. I promised myself though I would not bring up Francis Fukuyama or Samuel Huntington. That's a deep cut for any poli sci majors. I'm not going to elaborate. But I like this song a lot, and it made me think a lot about the '90s and how much the world has changed since then. So, and you too as well. After this song, I started listening more, and maybe that's where the British accent comes in. Maybe you like really like Bono's vocal stylings, and who knows?
Could be
So I give it an 8 out of 10.
nice, nice.
You gave one an 8?
Yeah. Do I?
I can't wait to hear what
Ooh.
you are rating 7 and 8.
Shannon, slow down. That's too many numbers.
And we didn't react to number.
I did laugh
We
the
didn't
numbers,
react
and I
to.
put them in order on purpose. Just to throw that out
Well,
there.
I was surprised you
Yeah,
should have finished it off by adding 47 because that's something we skipped. We didn't listen to 47.
we did not. I looked at the top songs on both, as I do, Spotify and Apple, and I kind of merged them and kind of tried to alternate between different um albums to get a range of
Nice.
their
Yeah.
music. But they don't have that many albums actually, so we doubled and tripled on some of them. Anyways,
Oh, sweet.
continue.
All right. Who
7.
wants to start with 7?
I don't have a lot to say, so I'll start. The very beginning uh reminded me of Thursday a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And I couldn't think of what song it was. Maybe Cross Out the Eyes, but I don't 100% know. It was just one of those like, oh, this sounds like Thursday generic, without being like, oh, it's this specific song. Um, I the auditory issues were issuing in this one. I couldn't understand a damn word. Even having the lyrics on, I was like, what is happening? But overall, I liked the song, and I did rate it a 7 out of 10, or sorry, an 8 out of 10, and not a 7 out of 10, even though it is 7. But yes,
It's
thank
a
you, Sarah.
7, it's an
Thank you,
8.
Sarah, for understanding my thing with the numbers.
7, 8, 9.
That was all I had to say. Didn't have a lot to say about this one.
Trevor, what do you think?
I liked.
Turn towards him on purpose.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh,
Okay,
thanks,
I noticed that.
Shannon. Wait, I turned the wrong way. Thank
No,
you,
no, no. That
Shannon.
was the correct way on mine.
No,
Oh,
you're
was it?
facing me this way.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So if we go like this, it's like,
Yes.
oh,
Yeah, you two are
ooh.
looking at each other. And I'm like the Brady Bunch, where I'm like,
Ah.
is that too old for most people?
No, I grew up watching the Brady Bunch. My mom was a big Deja Vu enjoyer. If anyone had that retro TV show, it's
Deja
not
vu
neither
enjoy?
I
here nor
watched the
there.
Brady Bunch. I actually my first exposure to the Brady Bunch was the Brady Bunch movie, the
Yeah.
parody,
Yeah. Oh wait,
and I did
the parody
like
or the movie?
the parody was my first exposure, and I was like, this show's kind of weird. And then I was like, oh, it's a parody of an existing show. Let me go ahead and watch that one.
Mm.
So
Oh,
that
cool.
movie, that's a funny fucking movie.
Not the Marsha one?
No, the one
Oh.
with what's her name is married to Ben Stiller. She played
Yeah, no,
Marsha.
that's the one. Where
The
she's like,
comedy, like
the Sure Jan. Like
that's
that's where that meme is from.
that was
Yeah,
my
that
first
one.
Oh,
exposure with
It
like
was
the
like a parody,
parody
but it also
film.
like wasn't a parody because it was the actual show, but it was just
I
played for
mean,
laughs.
no, it was like her, like the Marsha and the older brother. They had this like sexual thing going on, which for sure wasn't in the real show.
Well, it
Like
wasn't like a full remake of the show, but it was
it was
like.
a parody. It was for sure like a
wow.
But it's not like.
parody.
Okay, we're getting off
Color.
topic, but I was gonna
I'm
say it's not like
glad.
the scary movie parodies
It was a. I mean,
because it was like the
yeah,
actual like it was the like they got the rights. It was a Brady Bunch movie, so it wasn't
you
like a
can still.
parody of the
It's an
Brady Bunch because that would be like
it's
the Bratty
authorized
Bunch.
parody. We can say it's an authorized
Mm,
parody, but
Okay, you can say
there's
that.
a parody covers a whole lot of spectrum. But yeah.
Okay,
Anyway, what are we 7?
sorry. Yeah.
we got way
So
off track there.
no, because yeah, I grew up watching old TV shows. I remember I was like 7 years old, and I was watching both Bewitched and Sabrina the Teenage Witch at the same time, and I thought it was all in the same universe.
Hell yeah.
I
Yeah,
mean, why not?
why not? But 7.
Yes.
I said such a fun song. It's for me. It's sat between kind of like Nirvana's like Hallmark sound, like think Smells Like Teen Spirit, and that wind down of like hardcore punk that happened at the end of the '80s. Um, and I was listening to this and I was like, oh my God, yeah, like Thursday, but I also felt like this was a huge influence on Bullets, like all of the post-hardcore sounding songs. And there
Yes.
was a riff in it. If you want, if you're listening to the live right now, I would say the guitar riff on 7 that leads into the chorus sounds like part of Drowning Lessons.
Mm,
And so I
interesting.
think that was a fun. I did that side by side lesson. And I was like, okay, I feel like those are close enough. So I definitely on this song really heard the influence on early MCR. And I gave it a 7 out of 10. I didn't even do that on purpose. That's
Nice.
hilarious.
Nice.
So this is also kind of one of the older tracks. This is for 94. this was another great example of a song with a lot of dynamics. And a lot of their songs I've seen were doing this, but this kind of tendency to shift between like a dreamy, haunting kind of verse into this like intense and more powerful, driven chorus, and then back again. So it reflecting on what you said a few moments ago, Lisa, about how especially some of these following songs, there was this kind of repetition in the lyrics, and I did notice that with this one. There's a lot of repetition in the lyrics, especially in the second half. But I really could find that I was able to tolerate this a lot more because the music itself was so dynamic and interesting, so it kept me listening. And I'm curious if I know that I'm kind of like last in the circle, so if either of you had anything specifically to say about this, you would have already. But I'm curious, like they kept saying it over and over in the song and the lyrics, and I couldn't grasp what they were kind of getting at. Did either of you kind of get any sense of a reference to what "Sew It On" maybe meant from your listening?
Did they say
it's the very first? It's the first line in the song, and I think it's how they start all their verses with the phrase "Sew it on," and I was like, "So what on? What are we sewing?" Not SOW, but it's the literal like the SE sewing SEW. You're sewing something onto something else, and I couldn't kind of, and maybe the answer is nobody knows, but I kept
Maybe
trying to figure out.
Maybe like patches onto your jacket or something. That's the first thing I thought.
Yeah.
So like if they're post-hardcore kind of vibes, you know what I'm saying?
I got zero lyrics out of this. I didn't know that they said "sew it on." This is a no words, just sound song.
No word zone.
No words, just sound.
A mystery to be solved.
That's a mystery. Anyway.
Wow, Shannon. Did it look like I was saying that to you? A mystery to be solved.
And we're gonna high five.
Okay, ready? 1, 2, 3. Oh, well.
Your timing is it needs a little work, I'll be honest.
I couldn't see the video because I was looking at Shannon, so I'm gonna assume it was perfect.
I believe it. It was pretty perfect, actually. I was looking at Trevor, so I could see exactly what was happening. So I didn't.
And because we're directly next to each other, I also felt our hands contact. So that's the other way you know a high five worked or not. So
that's how you know that all true statements.
Yeah. Okay. So 8. I'll pick up 8. So, on the whole, this one was not one of my favorites. I really usually like the vocals, but I wasn't connecting with them in this song. I like the gruff energy of the song, the feel of it, the vibe, but I didn't connect with the lyrics for this one. But I was reading up a little bit about 8, and there's some interesting history about this song. So this song was a part of the band's very, very first demo, like as a band, and then it sort of went on. It was re-recorded, and it ended up on like 2 different albums. Like it was remastered several times as well, and this version is on the Batman Forever soundtrack. One of the best, one of the better Batmans.
Wait, I don't know.
That's with Uma Thurman, I believe. That's the one. That's one of the.
It's got like Alicia Silverstone as Batgirl, and
I think so. I think it's got Mr. Freeze. It's like the really goofy one.
It's the one where the suits have nipples.
Okay, so it's the George Clooney one.
No. It's the one with Jim Carrey as the Riddler.
Do the suits have nipples?
Who is the Batman? It's the Val Kilmer one.
Yeah, Val Kilmer had the nipples, I believe, right? And he had the.
No. Okay. George Clooney had the nipples.
Val Kilmer didn't have the nipples?
George Clooney had the nipples.
Did I'm looking at Val Kilmer nipples.
Also, R.I.P. Val Kilmer.
I'm going to look it up.
Was such a fantastic movie.
Oh, I do love
Val Kilmer had nipples also, I think. There was this nipple.
I don't want to Google, does Val Kilmer have nipples? That's weird.
I proudly Googled Val Kilmer nipple. So
if it is the one with the Seal song, I'm pretty sure I had that soundtrack, but this did not sound familiar to me. So
but I don't know where in the song, in the movie, obviously it is, but it's on the 8 is on the Batman Forever soundtrack. If anyone's curious.
Interesting.
I've categorized in my mind all Batman media by whether or not the suits have nipples, so I was pretty sure about that one.
Yeah. But anyway.
Anyway.
Yeah, I'm on. Okay, I found a Reddit thread. There's a very thorough, very up close picture. Val Kilmer had the bat nipples, yet it's always pointed to as a criticism of Batman and Robin. Do we give it a pass because we all appreciate Forever way more? You're thinking of Batman and Robin as Alicia Silverstone,
Okay.
but Val Kilmer has nipples.
He does indeed.
Yes.
Anyway, that was my contribution to the song.
George Clooney also had nipples.
He had pointier nipples. Am I wrong?
I think the
No,
George
they
Clooney
were
ones
definitely
might have been a
pointier.
little bit more like visible, because I do remember at the time it was like a big thing. Like people were literally just mad about the bat nipples. Like no joke. Like because I was
nipples.
of the age and like kind of the
George
of the
Clooney
nerddom to be like
nipples.
into the Batman movies at the time. And
Yeah.
I remember, and I liked George Clooney because I watched ER with my family at that time. So, or with my mom at that time. So I remember specifically the controversy of George Clooney's bat nipples.
I'll
Anyways,
tell you what, they look very similar. They look really
they were,
similar.
but I don't think Val Kilmer had the same, there wasn't the same shock about the bat nipples.
I think
We have gotten
it was
very off
also,
track here.
I think
Yeah.
Batman and Robin was also maybe like a bigger movie, so there was more reach in general. People cared more because it was Clooney. Anyway,
Maybe.
what did you guys think about 8?
Okay. What did I think about 8? I didn't have, I had a couple of things to say. One is that it low-key bothered me that 1 and 7 were spelled out, but 8 was just a numeral. And why did they do that?
Yeah. Same.
Just be consistent, man.
This is the band that said we don't care, make it pink. So
This is fair, but it bothered me. What else? What kind of also bothered me? Again, I think the song went on a little too long. I wanted it cut about 30 to 40 seconds shorter. And I specifically had sort of a distaste for the ending because they start overlapping voices. And it kind of is almost like sounds purposefully off in terms of the timing, and the two different sounds just don't go together. Like one sounded a little bit like more like stark and the other one sounded a little bit more like resonant, and I don't know, I can't really describe it, but it was like kind of went together, but it was almost like purposefully off in a way that I was like, I don't know how I feel about this. But and then it went on again for like 40 seconds too long. So interestingly enough, I gave 7 an 8 out of 10, and I gave 8 a 7 out of 10. But it shouldn't have been a number. It should have been written out. Anyways.
I was waiting for somebody to give 7 a 6 so I could do this.
All right. Well, it's been nice, everybody. Good
Can't
night.
do it. I'm ending the live.
Yeah.
I feel like kids are past that now.
Listen,
I feel like that's like 2 months ago.
Here's the thing. I have been actively harassing Amelia about this for months. Every time she latches onto something obnoxious, I commandeer it to the point that it's no longer
That's
cool.
how you do it.
That's the whole point. That's the whole point. So I all day walk around like this. I haven't seen her do it in months. I've been doing it. It's the service that I'm providing for
Wow.
the
Shannon,
old people.
Thank you for your service, for helping.
Thank you.
Our
Actually,
teenage
I have
friends.
I have a patient at work. He's 67 years old, and his birthday's coming up this summer. And he brought it up. I was like, he happened to mention my birthday's in summertime. I was like, oh yeah, that's great. And he's like, I'm actually really excited to be turning 68. And I was like, why is that? And he's like, because I have 10-year-old grandsons, and I've been seeing this all year. He's really great. Like I have a lot of, we have really great. So that was just, I was expecting that. I started laughing really hard for him to be like, he's like, oh yeah, I've been just seeing this.
Also, going back to the fact that it's Gerard Way's birthday, it does make me happy that he is 49 on 4/9. So it was just like, this is like the happy number birthday, and that made me happy. Anyways,
that's fun.
because I like numbers to be happy. Numbers should be happy. Anyways, Trevor, what did you think about 8? The number and not the word.
The number 8, I was also deeply disturbed by their choice to write 8 as the numeral rather than spell it.
Maybe it's like,
I'm not alone.
Forever sideways. Maybe that's what they're doing.
Infinity?
Yeah, forever sideways, man. it's like heaven
Trevor and
backwards.
infinity are not the same thing. I'm sorry. I have to, well, actually, that.
Technically,
It's like heaven backwards, guys. Like you're not seeing it.
Heaven. Anyways, I like this song. I give it an 8 out of 10. I said the vocals. It's like if Nirvana covered a U2 song. That's what I said.
Oh, okay.
And it's again, it's like when I think of early U2, it's like that soaring kind of
Mhm.
vocal. It feels like if you're in the remember those like song visualizers from the '90s where it had those
Yes.
like and it felt you're like listening to music
Was
and
it
it feels
Winamp?
like you're yes, and it feels like you're traveling through a tunnel of sound and it's like all trippy. That's
Hmm.
what U2 sounds like to me, like that feeling and aesthetic. So
Okay.
I maybe I associate that. I really enjoyed the again that hallmark contrasting dynamics of that '90s like grunge slash post hardcore punk rock, whatever you want to call it, of like really quiet verse and really loud chorus. I felt like it was so well done here and like emblematic of the decade. It
Hmm.
reminded me of a lot of bands where I was like, oh, like did they have crossover with like Radiohead on this because they were contemporary with them? And then this was the song again where it like clicked. I was like, oh my God, there's so many bands that must have taken from this sound. And I was thinking of like even like the late '90s kind of like big label grunge bands like Creed or even Nickelback. Like they wouldn't exist without these bands. And they were like huge. We don't have to like them, but the label took
Like,
the sound
was
of
that a
songs
big
like this.
bad thing? Sorry.
No, no, no. It's not a positive or negative judgment. Just like for me, it was interesting that like labels heard songs like this from
Mhm.
Sunny Day Real Estate, Nirvana, and they're like, bottle that sound
Yeah.
and give it to a weird Christian guy named Scott Stapp. You know, like I was like, literally, I was like, I don't think. Oh no, that's a different song. But yeah, anyways, I thought like this song is such a great case study of how labels bottled the sound from an indie band and then like just put it all over the scene. So love the song, 8 out of 10. Thought it was really cool.
Um, I will start with In Circles. If we're moving through its second to last song.
Hmm.
So this song was ranked by Vulture as number 11 on the list of greatest emo songs of all time,
Damn.
which is yeah, that's damn, that's like really high praise, right?
Wow.
Um, and I really enjoyed the song. I really love the chorus specifically. And I'm always a fan. I'm always a little sucker for when a band pairs their literal lyrics with actual musical dynamics. So in the
Mm.
song, specifically when they do running down, they like trickle down the scale appropriately. I love that so much. Um, and so, and also like, you know, talking a little bit more about some references, specifically in this song, more than like a lot of the other ones, I really heard maybe like a little bit of like Billy Corgan happening in the vocals here.
Yeah.
Um, and so, and if anything, we're looking at references in the opposite direction because the Pumpkins are from like the 80s, right? And so, but I know still going to the 90s, still being kind of contemporaneous as well. But just sort of acknowledging when we're, talking about just similar sounds of the big bands of the day. I really felt a lot of Pumpkins in that with well. But I really liked In Circles a lot. I really liked the build into the chorus and then the chorus itself. So I can see why this kind of over time has really kind of really set in the stone of being kind of part of this like emo like hallmark of sound. So no spoilers, but these last two songs are like two of my absolute favorites of the entire week. So I really, really liked In Circles.
Awesome.
Trevor?
I also really liked In Circles. I thought the intro, there's this intro groove with alternating guitars, like high note, low note on the quarter notes. So very like on the beat, pulse heavy. And I was like, oh, this feels like the blueprint for like so many 2000s pop punk songs, just like that kind of riff. And I was like, oh, so cool. I can totally see why this was such an influential song. And then it like completely switches up in the verse, doesn't go in pop punk direction at all.
Hmm.
And I was like, I don't think songs like Arms Wide Open or One Last Breath by Creed would even exist without this song. For better or for worse, Lisa. But like even now today, you think like there are weird viral videos of people like screaming One Last Breath at the Grand Canyon. and like for to the cultural influence of that dating back to like maybe some label like listen to this song, it had a huge impact in the year's release, and now like what 30 years later some guys like hold me now in the middle of the Grand Canyon. It blows my mind. It's so cool. So yeah, I love the song 8 out of 10 in circles, in the circles of life and music.
So we all do love a song, the same song. Yes,
Whoa,
it
Hey!
happened.
yay.
I thought this was
Putting on my
fantastic.
party glasses for this one.
Oh hell yeah, those are
Wow.
cute. Um,
Just
so
found them
yeah,
in a cup over here. I don't even know where they came from.
Those are your cup glasses?
These are my yeah. It's just like a bag. There's also like these. There's a lot of things in here. There's a
I
deep
thought you were
one.
holding up more glasses for a second. So then the fact that you held up a tool was very like jarring for me because I thought we were going through your glasses collection, but apparently it was your cup collection.
And then there's a bunch of bracelets. These are everywhere, all over the house.
Whoa.
So, anyway,
Anyway,
please,
yeah. So
please
Lisa,
continue.
go ahead.
Yeah. So again, I think that we've talked about it a little bit through a couple of their songs, but the kind of mix between the sort of again like it goes kind of mellow and chill, and then it all of a sudden it'll like explode into like this very energetic like sound. I love that mix in general, and I think that's one of the things that I like about emo, and kind of in my
Yeah.
opinion again sort of like a hallmark of the emo that I like is it's it's kind of that mix between like slow and heartfelt and then boom.
Yeah.
um Again, this would have been a 10 out of 10 except for the end just went on again a little too long. I wanted to cut it down by again same thing about 30 to 45 seconds and it would have been a 10 out of 10, but this is probably my second favorite song this week. I really liked this one.
If there are any
Mhm.
bands listening to this now or in the future, Lisa likes choppy outros, okay?
I just
Keep
don't
it
want it to go on to the
snippet.
point where I notice it,
Yeah,
like
yeah,
if it's going on where I'm like, wow, this has been going on for a long time, it's too long.
yeah. Yeah.
And
Like,
not all long songs make you feel that way, right? Like,
no,
there's
That's
plenty
I
of
true.
songs that are quite long that I'm like, oh, like I didn't realize that was a 4.5 minute long song. But
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
what I get what you mean because a couple times also I would kind of check to how long the song had left and it still had like 40
yeah.
seconds and I was like, oh, it's kind of feels like we've already hit everything.
And
Yeah.
it's not
So
so much the length of the song because my favorite songs are their longest songs. So it's like Demo Lovers, Foundations of Decay, Vampires, and Kids, especially with the extended solo at the end. Like those are my top songs, and those are their longest songs. But it was more of the repetition.
Yeah, totally.
If they had thrown in another verse, if it had been something, but it was literally like the same three lines, just looping.
Yeah.
And that I'm like, okay, I get it. I get it.
It's like
Move
the
on.
the musical equivalent of when you're just adding words to your essay to get to the word count.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes. That's
yeah.
exactly what it felt like was that we're just like, okay, I get it after the 100th time. We can go ahead and maybe like wrap it up like a couple of
exactly.
times.
Yeah, yeah. No, that's so fair. Totally.
Yeah. I can start with Pillars, because I think that this is unfortunately going to be a little, now we're going to diverge.
Oh
Um, I
no.
know, I'm sorry.
No. No.
So what was interesting is that for both Apple and Spotify, this was broadly the number one song. And this week I
Hmm.
actually did the albums mostly in reverse. Like normally I kind of start out with like their most known or like the number one song and I'll work backwards. And this week I was like, I'm gonna switch it up and I'm gonna put it where it's like their least listened to songs and go to their most listened to song because I was like, let's end
Oh.
on a high. But it wasn't necessarily a high for me. So I went into this expecting it to be like the song. Um, but I had a couple of interesting bits that kind of bothered me about this. And um, I think that there was some interesting choices in the cadence of the way that he was singing some of the songs, where he'd take some kind of longer words that would scrunch them up. And then he'd
Hmm.
take shorter words. I feel like Shannon loved this about this and is going to talk about it. Um,
The first thing I'm gonna say.
and then some others are drawn out and they're shorter and it was an interesting sound but not something that I particularly liked.
Huh.
I also think that I struggled. We talked a lot about tempo last week, I struggled with the tempo quite a bit on this one. This to me, like Shannon last week was saying that a lot of Joan Jett songs were in between too fast and too slow for her.
Mm.
This was a little bit, this was my in between, where I wanted it to be a little faster or like straight, like ballad slow. So it was just in that wrong range for me.
I'm bleeding. I'm okay. I'm
Right.
like covered in blood. Yeah, we're fine.
Was it you playing with the tools?
No.
Okay. I did note that this one sounded a little bit more polished than some of the others, where it didn't have as much of like the kind of squeaky and grit emo that I'm used to, where it was just slightly smoother. And
Mm.
I like kind of that squeaky grit as long as it's not high pitched. Um, and then I also noted that it was an interesting choice to rhyme society with cyanide, and it was a bit of a stretch. So I gave it a 6 out
We
of
call
10.
that an off. We call that an off rhyme.
I didn't like it. It was a stretch. I didn't like it. I was like, those two words do not rhyme. So yeah, I gave it a 6 out of 10. It was probably tied with the first song for being among my least favorites. But it was still good. Like again, I really liked Sunny Day Real Estate. So I didn't dislike any of their songs. It was just fine for me. Anyways, Shannon, tell us what you loved about the scrunched up and drawn out words.
So what you're referring to is something called backphrasing. Okay, I really like this one. So Pillars, if we're breaking down the lyrics, it's like there's these themes about.
I just choked on my own one. Sorry. I don't know how to drink.
That's called backwashing.
Sorry. Should I
Um,
mute? Hold on, let me see if I can mute.
um, so anyway, so what I can't take you seriously, life dying like that in dead silence. Okay, I'm gonna continue. So I really the theme of the lyrics had these like themes of like searching for identity, which I think is always like a key to success in like in the genre, right? The feel of this song, haunting. I wrote haunting and moody, and specifically I wrote a whole bunch about the how much I love the choices of the vocal melodies in the verses, and
Mm.
it really the choice of how we're placing the vocals kind of ebbed and flowed with the tempo, and it kept the sound dynamic. So I specifically used examples. I said the quickness of the lines in the pre-chorus, such as I'm not gonna subject you guys to my singing, but the line like for a while I'll take you bearing old bones, and then for a while I'll give you Darien bound stone. Both of those are the lyrics that happen in the chorus in the verses that were kind of backphrased, right? We kind of like
Mm.
hang tight and then we pick it up really fast at the end of the line. But I thought that made a really interesting sound. I
Mm.
really liked that was my favorite part of the song actually, against the slower tempo of the chorus. It was a cool sound that I haven't I at least the songs in our selection this week we didn't see that anywhere, and it just had
Mm.
some auditory interest. And I know you said that this felt free of grime and grit. I actually thought that the vocals in this did have a bit of that grime and grit. And then there was a really cool like bass moment in the pre-bridge that I always will point out if I can hear a really good bass line somewhere. And then whatever amp they used in the recording of this song, we had a really cool twangy guitar moment. But there was a lot of things really, really working for this song that I kind of wanted to continue to highlight. I really, really like the outro of this one. Generally, really, I mean, one of my favorites, if not maybe like my favorite, like probably like battling like one, just slot 1 or 2 for this one for me.
Yeah.
And it's funny that you specifically picked this one to be kind of listened to last. I listened to it first because when I pulled up their Spotify, it was the first song, and so I just said, "Oh, this is on the list," and so I played it. So it was the first one that I did hear. So
I curate this list for you.
what?
I curate the playlist for
You
you,
did it
but
just
you
for
just
me.
ignore me.
So, but no, this
It's
this is
okay.
a great one. I loved it. Trevor, what'd you think?
Um, I like the song. This was an 8 out of 10 for me. And again, um, this was another song where I was like, oh my God, there's so many songs since this came out that sound like it. And the one song it really reminded me of was I Hate Everything About You by 3 Days Grace. Not thematically,
Hmm.
but just in terms of that musical formula of like the 90s really pioneered that loud or soft verse, loud chorus dynamic,
Mhm.
like classic Nirvana kind of vibes. But this band was also kind of on that. And then what I thought was really cool about listening to this song and it being the origin of these patterns that got really popular in music production is the difference is with a song like this, you could hear that Sunny Day Real Estate was pulling from their references. So you can hear like Rush, you can hear U2, you can hear Led Zeppelin, whereas all of the label hits were probably, and I don't know for sure, but my guess would be, especially in the 2000s when there's so much money in it, they're like, see this Sunny Day Real Estate song? Write a version of it.
Mhm.
Rather than Sunny Day Real Estate, that's pulling together their influences, transforming them, mediating them, and giving us a new kind of sound in the 90s and being on the cutting edge rather than that like top down production of like write your version of this song, write your version of that song, write your version of this song.
Mhm.
um and I love that. I was like, you feel like you're listening to the song for the first time and it's like opening a history book, but with your
Mhm.
ears. I liked it. I liked it a lot.
So generally, we all like Sunny Day Real Estate. That was a
Yeah.
nice. That
Yeah.
was a nice pleasure.
Oh,
Yes.
and just I'll do my closing thoughts first because that's kind of what this is. I After listening to this band, I kind of get why Midwest emo people are so gatekeepy and cagey about it. Because listening to this song, I was like, oh God, like everyone just ripped off this sound in these bands through the 2000s, and nobody knows where it comes from. Like I totally get why they are so sour grapes about the genre now. A little bit more, I was like, that was
Mhm.
my takeaway from it. A little bit more respect for those Midwest emo gatekeepers.
From the Pacific Northwest.
Yeah, from the Pacific Northwest. Those authentic Midwest gatekeepers from the Pacific Northwest.
All
Sorry.
right. Who do we think? I will go last for obvious reasons. Who do we think
Yeah.
picked Sunny Day Real Estate to be one of their openers?
This is more
I have
nerve-wracking
an
because I feel you know the right answer. So go ahead, Lisa.
Okay. I think it's
I
Frank.
know an answer. I know an answer. For all I know, they all could have said things about this band, but specifically this person definitely did.
I
Shannon
think it's
has
Frank.
the objective biblical truth about who chose this band. And
I have
if I get this wrong, I don't know if I'll ever recover. Hang on, let me tap into the energies of the universe.
There were a couple of moments in here that reminded me a lot of Frank solo music, and I could see some influence on that. And I think just in general, knowing the kind of music that and the age that Frank was, I see more of a clear influence on Frank than I do the rest of the band. So that's why, like when I was listening to it, my brain immediately went, "Oh, Frank, this is a Frank band."
okay.
And again,
That's a
kind of why I
really
thought they were from New Jersey.
Right. Trevor, what
that's
do
a
you
really
think?
good argument. I might just bandwagon onto what Lisa said because it was very
I
persuasive.
could be wrong.
Or maybe hedge my bets. Maybe hedge my bets. My gut, my random like trust the stars gut was Mikey Way for some reason. All right, final answer locked
I could
in.
see Mikey
Click.
liking
Okay.
him too.
Like I said, they all, I don't know if they all have strong leanings towards any real estate, but I was so confident when I was listening that I ran to Google and I searched Sunny Day Real Estate Frank Iero because I was sure that he had talked about them before, and I was correct. He
Wow.
he mentioned them in an interview. So talking about age, talk about formative age and like music influences. He was in eighth grade when they really hit. And my God, eighth grade. God, can you? I
Yeah.
couldn't pay me to go back to eighth grade, but like the music that I listened to changed my life, right? Like that
Yeah.
was like it. So he
Yeah.
said, so he specifically said in an interview, when he was talking about like, about influence, right? And about the upcoming tour. He said that and it was eighth grade, and at the band cracked his mind right open, and that they gave him
Mm.
permission to sound the way I do, and to feel the way that I do. Specifically, noted that they were heavy without being aggressive,
Mm-hmm.
but heavy in the sense of covering an emotional spectrum that I had not yet figured out how to express. So
Wow.
imagine being in 8th grade and like hearing music come out, and that's how you describe kind of being like your brain cracking open and
Yeah.
accessing parts of your emotional spectrum that when you're, what is it, 14, 15 years old, not even on your radar yet, kind of, so it really was like a band that really, really resonated with him. And like I said, it could have also hit everyone else, but also being the youngest, would this band have been different for an 8th grader versus like a 10th or 11th grader, right? So,
Yeah.
but at the very least, it could have been everybody, but at the very least, definitely a potential Frank project. So
Wow.
Lisa and also Trevor, you were both correct. And
Well,
you,
no.
uh,
Lisa was right. I said Mikey Way.
yeah,
Which
you had.
honestly, like, I feel like Frank and Mikey probably had a lot of similarities in terms of like the scene that they grew up with. And
Mhm.
like I feel like, and I think the reason why I really said Frank too is that I feel like Sunny Day Real Estate had a big impact on the New Jersey scene, and the scene that they would have been growing up in. And so I
Hmm.
think with Frank and Mikey being a year apart, they probably would have grown up in that scene together, hearing those same influences and probably exposed to the same band. I think maybe they, what they listened to kind of separately or like outside of that, obviously we know that Mikey loves Britpop, and I don't think that you get quite as much of that from the Frank side, but like I could see this being, I could see this being both, but it just read so strongly as Frank to me.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And like Lisa, when you do your spreadsheet predictions of the B sets, I feel like you have a weird spiritual connection to you're like you have a little bug inside his brain.
I feel like I either get them very right, where I'm like inside his brain, or very wrong, and he has blocked me and said specifically, "I hate you. You're not listening to me." There's no in between. There's very little like, "Oh, I got half right." It's either like I got none right or I got like 9 out of 10.
Scorpios, am I right?
God, seriously. Sorry to any Scorpios in the channel.
Next week, I don't know if I'm going to be able to be here. Amelia has a band concert. It's
Oh,
really
look at
important
that.
that we go. She plays trumpet.
That's
And
awesome.
so it's concert band, but next year she's starting marching band. So we're going to have to be a football game family.
Wow.
Congrats! Sports!
Marching band's pretty cool though. We don't have marching bands really in Canada except for a few schools. But
Really?
yeah, it's
Is
not a
that an
big
American?
thing.
I guess it probably, I feel like most of our high school stuff is like very American.
We tried it, but
Interesting.
because we're more hockey up here, you get a bunch of a kid with a tuba trying to march on the ice. It's just a disaster. Like that's how you get a torn
Yeah.
ACL at 13. You know what I mean?
That's the end of it for you.
Yeah.
But no, yeah, I mean, I guess I have heard that that's like a very like American cultural thing, like a very like a high school, and we have like our school district is like one of those big ones that have like the
Yeah.
big
Yeah.
bands. It's like a
Cool.
big deal. Like every year they do a big band trip. Like they did Hawaii one year.
Wow.
They did England, like London one year. This year they're doing someplace in Texas. And then so like every year it's like you work all year to like fundraise to go on this huge trip. I was never
Cool.
in band. I did like the other arts, but I did one year. I was in touring choir, so we went with the band one year. It was my senior year. We went to Disney World, and so we performed in Disney World with the band. It was very fun. I was like
Oh,
one of
cool.
3 kids that was in touring choir, but wasn't also in the band. So we just sat in the audience and did this when
Oh,
they.
nice.
So growing up, and I don't want to get too tangential, but growing up, because especially we're more north. I grew up more in the south, and so the district that I grew up in, when I went to a million different schools, we didn't have band, we had orchestra. So I grew up on the violin, and so when I moved up to where I
Oh,
eventually graduated high school, we didn't have orchestra. It was like your choice was band, or that was it. And I wasn't
right.
going to learn a new instrument, so I just didn't take music. So I wasn't in band. Tim played saxophone in marching band.
Sax
Um,
man.
yeah. And so, but yeah, Amelia's in, she tried flute, hated it, moved to trumpet, loves it. And so that's going to be our experience. She enters high school next year. We're going to be marching band family.
Super cool. Wow. Well, all the best. No worries. I'm pretty sure I'll be here unless the Bears get really bad again. It is maple syrup harvesting season, so you never know. But I
Yeah.
should be here. Are you still good for next week, Lisa?
I'm good for next week.
Okay, and well, we'll get a
It's
report from you on
Interpol
how.
next week. I just had to look it up because I was like, who is
Oh,
opening
okay,
in? But it's
Oh, it is?
Florence. Yeah, because
Oh.
we've made
I
our
had
way
I
through
had
the Wembley shows.
oh, I had a different band in my head. Okay. Okay. Very good then.
Is it
Cool.
nice.
not?
Okay,
It's kind of hard. It's actually ridiculously hard to find.
Well, that's their
But
is the
yeah,
next date Italy because that's their
yeah,
Italy date. Okay.
yeah. Because we've made it through. There's 3 Wembley shows,
Okay.
and we've made it through them. It was right. Yes, I'm pretty sure.
Is it Mogwai somewhere in here? I thought we had that one in
That might be
between.
Spain.
Okay. It's hard because there's not really like a master list anywhere. It's just kind of like
It's
you have
so
to just
hard to find. Like there will be lists, but going to figure out like who's opening for what shows.
oh,
I
interesting.
don't know why it's not like advertised everywhere, but it's actually really hard to find.
Hmm.
Um,
let me see. Because I don't know. Yeah, okay. Mogwai is July 18th in Spain.
yeah.
And so
So the
Interpol
Interpol in
is
Spain.
the 15th. Okay, so I missed that. Great. But yeah, I may or may not be here. I mean, I'll listen to the music, but if I won't be home in time, I just won't be home in time.
I mean, you
So,
No
can always
worries.
join late if you get in late.
yeah.
Because I hope your concert doesn't go until 10. That's
Well, it starts at 7, and so it's probably only just a little bit over an hour. But sometimes family wants to go out and eat dinner. And last time Amelia had a concert like a month ago, I skipped out on eating out with family. I just came home to do this instead. So I
okay.
would probably cancel twice in a row.
That's fair.
So, getting a little bit of an intro because I don't know a lot about this band at all. Interpol, I just know it by name. It looks
No,
like
no, no, no spoilers. No spoilers.
I'm not spoiling
I
it.
don't like to know anything. I like to go in
Okay.
completely unknown.
Okay. Very good. Then I won't say
I don't even
anything.
like to know the year. Like, I genuinely I go in and I'm like
Oh, fun.
completely, I
Okay.
wait until I'm like ready to like listen to. I like sit down with my phone and my laptop and I'm like, okay, what am I hearing? I don't know why I'm typing like this, but I am.
All right.
Awesome.
Well,
Oh,
then it'll be a
Val says
surprise.
all the openers are in the mega doc if we ever
I don't
need
know what
to.
Megadoc you're
Yeah.
talking about, I'll be honest.
Is
I'm
it
not super looped in on things a lot these
okay?
days.
It's a big Excel sheet, so you might enjoy that, Lisa.
Maybe, except for I tend to get mad at Excel sheets written by other people.
Yeah, that's
I have
valid.
weird ways of thinking about things, and like I know that there's all these like tools out there, and I get like weirdly avoidant about them. Where I'm like,
Yeah,
Val, I'll be honest, I'm not gonna look.
it's yeah. If
I'm
Lisa
not gonna
didn't
look.
write
I'm
it,
sorry.
if it's not
Maybe
Lisa's spreadsheet, she doesn't want it, and I
I
respect it.
have like this weird like um what's the thing where like you get annoyed when people tell you what to do?
Oh, like authority problems?
It's
No.
like there's like an actual term for it, and I'm
Is
sure I don't have like the clinical version of the term, but I have enough of that feeling where
yeah.
um
Don't tell me what to
I remember
do. I
whenever
get
I
it.
was 14.
I
no,
didn't say
it's
it
like a
like that,
legitimate thing
Shannon.
though. What is now I'm gonna like it's gonna bother me. What is the name of this? What
There's not a
is
term for someone who doesn't like being told what to
Shut up,
do.
there totally is.
Don't tell her what to do, Shannon.
Don't tell me
She
what
has
to
to.
do.
In the
It's just
meantime,
kind of it's just being oppositional.
I'll do,
That might
I'll
actually
do.
be it. It might be actually like oppositional disorder or something like that. Hold
You
on.
do not have
Oh,
oppositional defiant
I
disorder.
told you I don't have it.
You don't have
you
ODD.
you
You'd probably
do.
by this age you
No.
would have been by
I
this age
told
if you
you
had ODD you would have been in prison by now. You don't have ODD.
I told you I didn't
You
have
would
it.
have.
I said I do not have it.
You
I
would have
said,
been in the delinquency system. You would have been in jail if you truly had ODD. You can be oppositional without having
did you
ODD.
not just hear me say I don't have
Don't
it?
tell me what to do.
Don't.
Okay, I'm gonna jump in with a PSA here. Just as we're closing out, there
Yes.
is still time if anyone out there is thinking about submitting a paper or an art submission to the Rat Zine. There's still a week. For the submissions, you only need a proposal. So it's only a couple of sentences, a paragraph or two. Tell us what you want to do. You still got time, and you can do that at www.revengerats.org.
Ooh, so
And
professional.
yeah, so I should do it. I
I
can
was
like
like,
lock
damn,
in for some reason. I can lock
nice.
in for some reason. So yeah, so please go check that out if you're interested in submitting. If you have any questions about submitting, feel free to email us at info@revengerats.org, or just contact us through the stars.
It is Aries season, so you are especially tuned in.
Just go out to the woods behind your
Yeah,
yard and carve your question into the bark of an oak tree, and we'll get it. We'll get it. Don't
yeah, we'll
worry.
get it. Yeah, no, Aries season, I'm losing my mind. I don't want to talk about it too much, but all the planets are in Aries, and like everyone's like the 16th, everything's going to change. I'm like, I don't know if I'm ready for this, but it should be good. Everyone
In
have a
this
nice
day and
time.
age, we don't wait, is that in 2 weeks? No. What day is
Yeah,
today? It's
it's
the ninth.
in
It's
It's in a week.
eight
next
days.
Thursday, the 16th, I think.
Okay. Okay. Well, at
Eight.
least it's not in 2 weeks, which is apparently when like the ceasefire ends. So,
Do you have any Aries placements, Lisa?
do I have any what?
Aries placements? We don't have to get into this right now. This is
I
off
I
topic.
do not I do not no. I do not. I think so. I don't know like all of like the different ones. I'm not super. I look at astrology similar to the way I look at like personality tests, and that they're fun
Yeah,
and they can tell you something about you, but I
yeah,
don't necessarily like trust what they say. So to me, it's like a Myers Briggs.
yeah.
So I
Take it
am
with a
very
grain of
much.
salt.
I'm a Virgo Libra cusp, but I often consider myself a Virgo,
Yeah,
despite being like kind of more on the
100%.
Libra side, because I was born 2 weeks late, and I insist to
Oh,
myself that I was meant to be a Virgo, and
yeah.
just the fact that I was born late, I got just enough of that Libra to like not make me as bad as my Virgo sister, who is like whoa, like
You,
picture of a Virgo, but Aries are very chaotic to me, um,
yeah.
in a lot of ways, and
My
so
my my brother's a Virgo, so
so it's quite interesting. But interestingly enough, like a lot of the people that I admire, like you, like Gerard, there's a lot of people born in April that I really admire them. But it is definitely the sign that I least align with.
that's so
The only
fun.
reference point I have for Virgos is that Jenna Marbles would always yell, "I'm a Virgo!" in her
Yes,
videos
I,
when she was doing
I'm
something
a Virgo.
particularly unhinged. That's the only
Yes.
reference point I know for what any sign does. Is
Which is
that
Yeah,
funny because I
Virgos
have the same thing with Aries because her husband
wasn't
who's
Julian's
Julian?
an
He's an
Aries.
Julian, yeah,
Yeah,
Aries.
yeah. Julian is an Aries, and so he would
I
just
only know
run
that
around
because they talked
chaotic
about
in the
it so
kitchen, and
much.
I'm like, oh
Yeah.
my god, it's Aries
yeah.
season.
Didn't
So
he do a show at Aries Kitchen or whatever? Anyways, we're getting off topic, but
Look, we're done. People can log off if they want,
that's
or
true.
they
Yeah,
can
the
hang
show's
around as we
show's
chat
over.
about our signs.
But we
if
can.
you
What are
don't
you,
like it, you're
Shannon?
leave. Get
What are you
out.
again, Shannon? Can I try and guess? Are you
You know what? Before you do, this always irritates me because people always say, "I'm gonna guess," and then they're never right, and then it's, "Oh, that's just what a blank would say."
Yeah.
It's all just self-reinforcing. You can guess. And a lot of people say that I am very much like this because of my attitude toward astrology in general. So,
Capricorn?
yeah, I'm a Capricorn. Yeah. And everyone says that's such a
It's
Capricorn
real.
take on astrology. And I'm just
Wait,
like, whatever.
Trevor, I want to know what you would have guessed had I not told you. For me,
Virgo. Oh, Virgo, 100%. Yeah,
okay, yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
You
The
and my
Libra that
brother
doesn't,
both
yeah,
share a deep love of spreadsheets that could only be a Virgo stuff.
yeah.
And my brother and I do music together, and he studied sound engineering, so you can just imagine what it's like to go through takes or a mix. Like I love what results from it, but it's turned me into the man I am today, which is a lot more patient than I was growing up with him.
I can see that.
But it's incredible. Like he's right. He's right all the time. I just need to sit and not jump around all the time.
It's very much like the organization and like the we need to have a plan, things need
Yeah.
to be kind of in place. And I mean, you can see it very much in the way that like I do. kind of like all of the stuff for this, where I'm like,
Yeah,
okay,
exactly.
like here's the plan. I will say I did slack a little bit this week. Sorry for not getting the list of songs out earlier, but um it is
It'll
just
come off. It'll come off your pay.
I will, if it makes you feel any better, I beat myself up about it. So
Don't. Well, no, don't do that. And also, none of
I
us are
just
getting
started
paid.
listening. I just started listening to the top songs, and I figured, most of these will probably be on the list. So
yeah,
I was right.
Yeah.
So
I
no
meant to
big
do
deal.
it Saturday, but the days got away with me, and then you know what? It's because I started watching The Last of Us, and it sucked me in
Oh
so
yeah.
much that like I didn't have anything left for anything other than watching TV.
Yeah.
Mhm.
No, that's a great show.
It is. I
I
haven't
never
gotten
watched
through.
that
I'm only
one.
on
Never.
episode 3 of season 2. But man,
Oh.
did episode 3 of season 1 wreck me. I haven't cried that hard watching anything
Yeah.
since like Homeward Bound. Like it was
Yeah.
it was beautiful, but it
Sassy!
was devastating.
Yeah.
Oh
And
no, Sassy, yes, but oh my God, he's too old. He was just too old. And then Peter, and you're just like, oh my God.
That is so
Homeward
fucking
Bound is
good.
the movie I turn on when I want to cry.
That's such a good movie. It's so
Such a good
sad.
movie. It's so sad. Have you
and
made
fun
Amelia
fact.
watch it?
No, but you
Oh.
know what? She wanted to watch randomly this past week. She wanted to watch The Truman Show. She's like,
Crazy.
Oh.
and I was,
Of all
it's
shows,
so
like,
funny because it's so big because that movie has become such a cultural sort of like landmark. I mean, it came out in a time before we had like every other person was an influencer or a blogger. The idea of your life being advertised or on television, all
yeah.
it was that was the Black Mirror of the Black Mirror dark comedy of the day, and how. So she came to me and she was watching like I don't know like a prank video or something, and the concept was they were trying to kind of recreate the same kind of ideas in the Truman Show, and she understood enough of the Truman Show because it's such like a cultural cornerstone, but she's like,
Yeah.
I've never actually seen the actual movie. I
Mm.
was like, I will stop what I'm doing right now and watch it with you. And she was like, okay. So we went and watched the Truman Show. Literally, like she's at the age now where anytime she even indicates that she wants to do something with me, I try to stop what I'm doing and like engage
That's
because
nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
you know because like how many more years do we have of her like
Yeah.
doing anything with us? Although she's not the kind of kid that's like totally like she's we're still very much like a unit.
That's
Um,
good.
but so yeah, yeah, that's what we watched this past week was the Truman Show, and what she's reading right now in school. Her school this whole past like year has had. I'm really grateful for this. They've had a really big focus on multiple classes and units being focused on World War II.
Mm.
Her class last semester read The Diary of Anne Frank, and they're reading The Boy in the Striped Pajamas right now.
Wow.
And so I was like, and so like every time I ask her about what's happening in school, one of her classes is doing some sort of unit on the war or the Holocaust or like Hitler, the things that led to the war. And in this day and age, I'm so grateful that there are schools that are
Yeah.
like happily sort of like, but we live in a really good district, and
Happily is not the right word.
Yeah. Out
no,
of
I'm
necessity.
really I'm grateful that we have schools that are teaching about and not
Yeah.
skimming over like the hot points of shame in world history. And so
No, I just
I'm
meant that
really
you're not happily learning about the Holocaust. Like
well,
you're
no, but
you're
I'm grateful
sadly
that
learning about it, but
I'm grateful that
appreciative.
she's getting lots of like World War II
Yeah.
heavy
Of course.
units.
Of course.
Anyway, so that's what she's
Good
reading
time.
right now. And so we said after we and if they're not going to already watch it in school, I was like, we have to watch that together as a family after you finish reading. So that's one of the next movies on our
Wait, which one?
The
The
Boy in the
boy
Straight
with the
Pajamas.
striped pajamas. Yeah.
You
Yeah.
may want to reconsider that. I have heard that a lot of the um Jewish people with Holocaust families don't agree with that movie because it centers the German experience and the Nazi
Mm.
experience and makes it about their sadness rather than the atrocities that are perpetrated among the Jews. So
That's
just
fair.
just a thought.
That's fair because that's also the book, right? The book is from the perspective, and that's the whole kind of idea is that it's from the perspective of like a German child who has no clue what's happening and
Yeah.
what it would be like for somebody, and not that that's like something that like just because like I don't know my take on that, which I will say like I haven't seen the movie,
I cried.
But like not, I don't know, like not every book or movie has every perspective, right? Like the book is about a German little boy who doesn't have any grasp of context of what's happening across the street down the road, right? Like his perspective of like his perspective is limited to what the adults in his life are telling him. So of course I think movies would kind of like mimic would sort of like reflect that. But maybe I don't know. I have to kind of watch
I'm
or
just
see if
mentioning
like
it because like for me, it's one of those things that if I hear that a book or a movie is about a certain demographic and that demographic comes out and says, hey, this doesn't represent what we went through and this is actually like harmful to us, I just tend to kind of listen or like to accept that and kind of go with that. I'm not saying that you shouldn't, but I was just like, you might want to know this, so I'm providing it. So I'm not saying go or don't listen. I'm just saying, or watch
like
it.
I
I'm just
haven't seen
saying,
it,
hey,
so
this
I
I've
don't.
heard this information. I'm
It's good to
sharing
know.
this information with you to do what you will. No
But
judgment.
it is good that
I
this
haven't seen
they're
it. I
focusing
don't
on
know,
these
right?
themes. Yeah.
It is heartbreaking. Like I
Yeah.
bawled my eyes out, but I would, I bawl my eyes out at every single movie about World War II and the Holocaust. Like those movies are awful, awful. I took a class in college about the Holocaust, because it's always just been one of those like things that I just up until now I could never understand how it could
Yeah.
happen, how humans could do that to each other, and how you could look at people and treat them in that way. And so it's always been something that has been fascinating is not the right word, but it is, where it's just like I want to understand. It's kind of like true crime a little bit, where like serial killers and things like that, like I don't understand it, so I want to learn more about it and be like, how does this even happen? Because it's so outside of any realm of understanding that I have. And how can that lead? So it was an interesting class in that we learned a lot about like the psychology of how specifically they broke down the humanity of um, the specifically Jewish people, but all of the victims of the Holocaust, and how they basically brainwashed or conditioned people into not seeing them as human, which then allows you to kind of do this. And it's fascinating, and that's how humans can be messed with,
Yeah.
and terrifying and heartbreaking that it's happening now,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and it's
If you're
happened
interested
now.
in if you're interested in reading, because like, you happen to mention like the perspective, like works from different perspectives during World War II. If you're ever interested in reading a book like from the perspective of someone who is like in a concentration camp, I don't know if you've I read it when I was in grad school. By Man's Search for Meaning by Viktor Frankl. I know like a lot of like that, I mean it kind of crosses into like lots of other kind of territories. Lots of people who even into like philosophy. And I'm by no means like a philosopher, but I read that in my in grad school for my counseling degree. That's a really like heartbreaking book. Like that's
Yeah.
like from that's someone's lived experience who lived through and survived the Holocaust.
Yeah.
Um,
It's a good book. It's
so
split. It's split into two halves. My grandpa was present at the liberation of Bergen-Belsen with the Canadian Army,
Oh,
and
cool.
he had this library of books that he kind of gave us when we were kids, and that was one of the books in the library. And it's split into two halves. The first is just his autobiographical experience,
Mhm.
going from camp to camp, and he's at Auschwitz and other
Yeah.
places. And the second half is this psychological theory called logotherapy. And that's probably why you read it in grad school for
mhm,
counseling, which is how he like conditioned his mind to survive in those conditions. And there's actually there's a lot of really beautiful and hopeful stuff
Mhm.
about life and what's important that comes out of that book. Despite it being such a horrid condition. So yeah, really good book.
Yeah, I don't.
mhm.
I haven't seen that one, but I might have to check it out. It just
It's a good
depends.
one.
I think it's a little
Probably
yeah,
heavy. Yeah,
heavy right now.
if you're kind of
Yeah, but
like
I mean,
It's
even
kind of
Trevor was correct. It has like like even the title of the book, it's like it's man's search for meaning. It's like what like like one of the main kind of ideas is his take was like despite being in the worst living human conditions, despite being in a concentration camp, despite seeing like awful atrocities every day, my life still has meaning and there's still value in having meaning in my life. And I get to decide what that meaning is. And so the idea is like, even in like the most like atrocious of conditions, we still have like that power still belongs to us, the ability to make sense and meaning of our own life, and that
Yeah.
that is that no one can truly take away. So there's a, I mean, yes, there's a lot of sort of like those heavier themes and like the actual day-to-day experiences that he, you know, he lived through, but then it's sort of coming out the other side as being, as sort of saying, well, what did that mean to me? How did that sort of impact me as a human? And so
Yeah.
it kind of delves into like existentialism, and like there's lots of like, yeah, like how he kind of developed and like grew like his psychotherapeutic method from that. But if it's a book that takes place from the first person perspective, someone who lived through and didn't die in the Holocaust, which is
Like
Yeah.
you're not really
nice.
getting autobiographies by people who died.
Well, yeah, but like a fiction book would,
Yeah.
your main character could, not
Yeah.
survive through the end of it, right? So, and that's not to
Yeah.
say that somebody couldn't have, had writings in and they
Oh, Anne
hid
Frank.
and hid them, right? I mean, so yeah, I mean that happens. People who, write first person accounts and don't live to see the end of it, and it's published posthumously, like that could happen. So,
But to bring it back in, I think it's great. I think it's great that your daughter's learning that in school. Like that is so
Yeah.
super duper
Yeah.
important. And it was like when I was growing up, it was important to learn about these things. So it's good, especially in these trying times, you know?
trying to unprecedented, they might say sometimes.
I feel
Some
like
might
they
say.
were unprecedented 6 years ago. I feel like we need a new word. We're like beyond that
I
now.
feel like we've been unprecedented since 2001.
Yeah. Yeah,
Since
exactly.
since the optimism of the 90s.
They're pretty
Yeah.
precedented now.
I
Yeah.
think it's just a downhill slope.
Yeah.
But we have my
Hopefully,
cam this summer, and that is keeping my spirits up.
yeah, there's always something. And just to wrap it up on a positive note, like the one thing I always took away from like my grandfather's experience of World War II was that there was a life after these horrible things happened, and there's a life worth building and worth working for, even if things are difficult right now. So even because it's so hard to see, like I struggle with that all the time, but I think about that and I think about there's going to be a world after what's happening right now, and that's going to be a good thing to want to work for and be there for. So there's my attempt to wrap it up on a hopeful message. Oh wait,
I'm
No,
gonna tap the tips of your fingers.
you have the heart, Lisa. You have the heart.
We did okay. We'll
there we go.
there we go.
Is it-
Close enough.
Lovely. Well, thanks if you're still here after that diversion
After
into World
after
War
I
II
brought
history
everything
and
way down.
our brief discussion on Holocaust studies that was not on the agenda. I hope you have a wonderful night. Thanks for joining us.
But it's
And
important.
it is important to talk about these things. It really, really is. But we'll be back for Interpol next week. All right. Good night. Take care,
Bye.
everyone.